My dad used to could burp the ABCs. I thought it was so entertaining, and my mom hated it, but that's one of my fondest memories. But that's not what we're talking about. Okay, top 10 action movies from the 1980s, which actually was a great time. I grew up in that time. I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s. That's why we didn't wear helmets on our bicycles. We wore cutoff shorts. We drank out of a water hose. Everybody knows all that, blah, blah, blah. So I'll move on to the next thing. This is the Time Magazine top 10 action movies of the 1980s. I got my time travel watch on here, so I've gone back and researched that, and now I'm here with you today so I can share my rearrangement of this. I've seen all of these movies, and some of them I like, and some of them they have formed my opinions and my thoughts and how I act and behave in this modern culture that I'm not super fond of, but we'll continue. So what would I start with first? What would I make you start out with number 10, you go to number 1, yeah. Or unless you thought number 10 was better, like number 10, woo! Maybe that's better, but we'll just traditionally go number 1. So number 10, I'm probably gonna pick Robocop because that was interesting to me. I guess it's kind of a dystopian, futuristic thing where this guy gets shot up by the bad guys and then he comes back as a cyborg. Technically, he'd be a cyborg. And it's similar to, that's a total cyborg. But this is a cyborg too. And I found this movie to be entertaining and interesting. This is the first time I saw a 50 caliber Barrett rifle. I thought was the coolest thing in the whole movie. That's the only thing I really remember. And they were actually blowing up buildings with them. Now, I have actually fired these guns up in Alaska. I've shot icebergs as far away as 2 miles. It's like truck size. But the reason for I was doing that is to get ice for whiskey. That has nothing to do with this top 10. I just thought I'd share that because the 50 caliber was in this movie and I thought it was cool. And then he had another cool full auto pistol, which was kind of neat too. I like that. That was cool. But I didn't like it that much. It was an okay movie. I watched it maybe once or twice and then I never saw it again. So we'll place this over here at number 10. Pretty high tech there. Number 9, I'm doing this all on the fly too, it's just like dropped in my lap like, hey, let's roll forward and do this. So number 9, I'm probably gonna go with Lethal Weapon. And I'm sure that Lethal Weapon has Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. Now, to me, this isn't who Mel Gibson is. Mel Gibson is Mad Max. To me, that is a movie that is not on the list, but it is one of my top 10 action movies. Probably also post-apocalyptic movies that I really love. We're not talking about it because it's not on screen because Time Magazine didn't promote it. But I'm going to just show. For me, Mel Gibson is Mad Max, but he was kind of Mad Max in this. I mean, he could shoot the hell out of a gun. I think they had a 50 caliber in this movie too. It was like, I guess Barrett was just giving 50 calibers out to everybody shooting a movie back in the 80s when they came out with the thing because they wanted everybody to see it, a new movie gun. So Lethal Weapon, very interesting. I had no idea that one pistol could have 4,000 rounds capable of holding in the magazine, but in this movie, obviously, Mel Gibson's got that Beretta 92 and he's, shooting it like, same thing. A lot of these guns, I guess Robocop had a Beretta too, so whatever. Interesting movie. I liked it. I watched it probably twice. This is another reason why it's like up here, not down here, because I didn't watch it but a couple times, and I feel like they kind of messed up my characters. I don't remember any of the characters in this. I don't know who was in this movie. I don't remember any of the names of the actors. This I knew, Danny Glover, Mel Gibson. I'm going to put this at number 9, and I'll quit talking about so much the movies that I don't like. I just remember the weapons that they had in the movie. Also, this is where 50 caliber and a Beretta, some type of Beretta number, 50 caliber, some kind of Beretta. So that's interesting, both of the times. Next on the list, now we're starting to get good. I will use the only Christmas movie that I know of on here. Everybody knows Die Hard's a Christmas movie. So this is another cool movie. Everybody likes to see Hans Gruber fall off the top of Nakatomi Plaza. I liked the idea of Bruce Willis's character just kind of not having equipment. He just kind of went in there like, I don't know where I'm going to a Christmas party, whatever it is. And what was cool about it is this was like Bruce Willis, like the first time I really saw him in a movie, and he was like an action hero. Pretty cool. I liked it. I've watched it several times. I remember mostly the cool guns in the movie. Steyr AUG, Beretta MP5. Not a Beretta MP5. Oh boy, there'll be so many thumbs down on that one. So if you do that, then beep. I don't care. It was a H&K MP5. Please forgive me, all the gun nerds out there. And another, I guess, Bruce Willis. It was the era of that. These guns. A lot of interesting things happened in the 80s, and you couldn't get any of those guns either. Not even a toy version of them. Toy guns were still big in the 80s, but anyway, Die Hard all takes place inside of a building, some air ducts. Boy, I'm trying to think. I don't remember Bruce Willis's character's name. What was his name?
John McClane.
John McClane. Sure, I'll get smacked in the mouth for not remembering that. But anyway, John McClane. Everybody remembers the guy falling off the tower. He played a great bad guy, too. He played the bad guy from the Robin Hood movie also. Alan Rickman, yeah. So we're going to put that there. I like these movies. This is, this could have fit in any time. It wasn't post-apocalyptic or anything. It's just like Lethal Weapon. Let's just say in a timeline, Lethal Weapon could have been going on. That was going on in the summertime over on the West Coast. And that very same year, this crazy stuff happened. I think it was on the East Coast. I think, maybe I'm wrong. There we go. Put that there. Now we're starting to get into the good stuff. Boy, I don't know, man. I'm gonna pick Aliens. Pull this out now. The predecessor to Aliens was Alien. This is the plural version. Two different movies, of course. So Alien was so gross and scary. I don't know if I watched it, but maybe one time. Good, awesome horror, sci-fi. I like horror. I don't like horror, but I like horror, sci-fi. Like cosmic horror. Like H.P. Lovecraft stuff. This is set. Later date. There's all kind of badass guns in there. This is what the common theme. Cool guns, cool guns, cool guns. Some of the characters in here were cool, but I kind of like the alien. Now, this is one of the ones where I like the bad guy in the movie because, see, I don't know if the alien was actually evil. I don't know if it was really bad. It was just doing what it does. That's kind of like when you think about animals. They're just doing their thing. They're just doing what they do. They're being themselves. They're reproducing. They're eating stuff. They're trying to survive. This is like what any culture would do. So, but they get hit hard by these crazy futuristic weapons with the little digital counter on the side. The gun. I don't even know what it was, but it was so cool. And then one guy in the movie has, I think he's got an Ithaca pump gun. It's kind of cool. He's got this shotgun, which is an antique his great grandfather gave him or something like that. And I haven't seen it in a long time, but I always watched them when the new ones would come out. And they got worse and worse, just like all remakes do. They get stupider, cornier, and worse. Now, another thing, when you're 14 years old or 13 years old and you watch this movie, you're not thinking about how corny it is. You're thinking about, that's so badass. And now you watch it, it's like, that's so corny, like another movie that just came out. I won't say that everybody knows what it is, Star Wars. All right, so we'll put this on here, number 7. I didn't tell you anything about any of these movies except cool guns, cool guns, cool guns, cool guns, and a really cool bad guy in this. This one really had a scary bad guy, but one of them is the most terrifying movie, and we'll get that, and I'll tell you why it's the most terrifying movie I ever saw. And the other one has a really badass bad guy. So let's get into the next one. Oh, boy. Commando. Okay. Commando. Arnold was in this one. So Commando, I did like. I remember seeing it when it came out. All these movies, I actually saw them when they came out. Commando's another one. Now, Commando has some knives in it and some other edged weapons and tools, but the character was just so badass, and he has this gun room, and I really don't know how he let those guys slip up on him, though, and take his daughter. That seems kind of lame, like, but it's a movie, right? So you got to start somewhere. So something's got to happen, and obviously I haven't seen these in a long time, but I'm just doing this on the fly, so it makes it more fun, right? So if he's such a badass, how come they slipped right up under his nose and try to kill him and take his daughter, and why? I don't really know why. So that's the premise for the movie, and throughout the whole movie, he's basically killing these people, and I guess maybe it's not so good for kids to watch, but I did watch it. And I don't remember exactly how it worked out, but I think he kills all the bad guys, gets his daughter back, and they live happily ever after. And I hope he puts in a serious security system after that. There was not a Commando 2, was there? No, I didn't think so. Maybe I should have put this one up at number 10 because I did enjoy it, but I don't think I ever watched it again. But I always liked Arnold when I was a kid, so I'm going to put this at number 6, even though it could fit anywhere here or above. Die Hard is definitely a better movie than this, and I just saw that kind of like, all right, here we go. Next, man, getting down here to some serious stuff. This is one of my favorites. Did this come out this was like 1981? Rambo, the first Rambo movie with Sylvester Stallone. Vietnam vet, he's kind of on his way home, just wandering around America. That makes plenty of sense if you were in Southeast Asia for however many years that he was over there in the story. It's kind of nice to be in America. I mean, whether you believe it or not, we haven't made. If you haven't been to a third world country, you should go visit one. I've been to Nicaragua before, and it's kind of rough. It's very different, but we definitely haven't made here, even though we bitch and complain about it all the time. But in Rambo, of course, the knife that defined generations. The Jimmy Lyle made the Rambo knife. It has the saw teeth on it. It's super badass. And Rambo, again, this character has no gear, no equipment. He's just got the knife, and he takes off on the motorcycle, and he's out, just evading the police. I would like to see Ice Cube's narration of this movie. He works for Disney now, but I think it would be fun, But anyway, I like Rambo because it put the protagonist in terrible, terrible situation at terrible, terrible odds, and in the end, he really doesn't win. But the story, it's a great storytelling, and I don't know what the ratings were. I don't care, but I loved the movie. I didn't see this in the theater. I actually saw this on those big giant VHS cassette tapes. I don't remember. It might have even been beta back then. It was at someone else's house that I probably shouldn't have been over watching this movie, but I did. Awesome movie. Love the knife. Probably one of the first knives I tried to make was one of these, and I made it in wood. And I gave them to my cousins, which probably their mom threw them away because they didn't let them have anything fun, I guess. They always gave sweaters instead of knives, and I'm never giving anybody a sweater for Christmas or clothes. I'm gonna give them a knife because of this movie. All right, is it a Christmas movie? No, I mean, you could watch it. You could make it the new Christmas movie. It could be right along there with Die Hard. Bow. Woo. All right, now we're getting into some serious territory here. I'm really starting to have a hard time choosing. I'm going to go with this next. Funny enough, the same guy, I think maybe this guy and this guy may have been the same guy. What was the guy's name in Commando? What was his name? We don't know. Anyway, a lot of cool characters in this. Not my favorite human in this was not Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was Sonny. His name is Sonny. I don't remember his last name. but he had the big knife. And the guy who made the knives, I think his name was Jack Crane. There's a lot of knives in this movie. I don't know whatever happened to that knife maker, but that big Predator chopper sword thing was so cool. I thought that was cool. I wanted to make that. I wanted one, and I liked that character. He was the American Indian character in the story. Pretty cool. My favorite character in the story was the Predator. See, I like the Predator in the story too. And later on, of course, everybody knows that the Predator and this movie start tying together. I don't really know how they coordinated that, but I like the Predator character. I just thought he was scary. He was badass. I remember sitting on the edge of my seat. I saw it in the theater with my dad. He used to always take us to the movies. We go eat something and then go to the movies. That's my memory. If that's not true, I'm sure my mom will be like, no, he says he never did that. I don't know, whatever. So Predator, futuristic, outer space, crashes on Earth. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this movie, but I like it mainly because of the bad guy, which was the Predator, who ends up getting killed, but that's not the end of the story. Everybody knows. And we don't know what happens to the rest of the people in it. But it was scary. That's the biggest thing I remember about it. Scary, cool knives, really badass antagonist. The Predator was... I don't look at him as the bad guy. I think he was kind of the hero of the story. You know, just like, hey man, I lost my way. I crashed my ship on your stupid little planet maybe. It was an accident, but I'm going to have to hunt you because it looks like fun to hunt y'all. I mean, you guys hunt little fuzzy rabbits and they don't have anything. So I'm going to hunt you little hairless humans and kill you guys and put your skull on my mantle for fun. It's kind of cool from this guy's perspective, you know, and maybe a good chess player. I don't know. So let's sit that there. Boop. I'm going to try not to get choked up about these movies. I'm going to go to this one next. Terminator. The Terminator. You know, it's kind of funny, like, sometimes when you watch people do movie reviews, they're into it. They remember the lines. They remember the words. I mean, you know, the thing about movies is, therefore, for me, I enjoy them. And I can change the words if I want to. I can change the names if I want to. I mean, I watch the movie. I can do whatever I want to with it. And I'm encouraging you to do whatever you want to with the movie too. So the next time some ultra nerd who didn't even watch the movie in the theater but has been relegated to online or some garbage like that, didn't even get to see it on a disc or a cassette, you know, whatever it is, not an 8-track, but the VHS, just tell them to shut up, you know. Enjoy the movie, watch the movie, explain it how you like, enjoy it how you like. Maybe I'm misrepresenting, maybe I'm combining this with some other movie, but this movie, post-apocalyptic masterpiece. I think there is a real Skynet, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking, maybe that's a conspiracy. I don't know. Terminator, John Connor, Sarah Connor, the T-1000. Gosh, I hope. Let's Google that real quick. Look that up and see. All right. So one of the reasons I like this movie so good is you could do anything you want to in a movie like this because it's the unknown. It's like, hey, this is a possible future. Man, it doesn't look really good. I always thought I would thrive in this environment, this post-apocalyptic future, you know. I still think Road Warrior, Mad Max was better, but this is a fun movie to watch. Some of the remakes are good and some of them are really stupid. But the Terminator 2 was pretty dope. That was where everybody wanted to buy a Harley Davidson Fat Boy at that time. Everybody was looking for them old shotguns. But in this movie, you couldn't, you know, all these guns were like crazy. You know, nobody even seen them before. Another bunch of, boy, they released a lot of guns in the 80s. It's kind of wild. But could you imagine making friends with this thing? No, you couldn't, because in this movie he just killed everybody. That was his whole point, just destroying everything in his way to get to Sarah Connor so he could snuff out the life of the future leader of the resistance. And I always liked that. Boys, you know, I like how you guys just whipped this on me not having seen these in many, many, many years. This makes it more maybe funny. I'll put this here at number 3. Number 2 and number 1. Well, I'm going to get a lot of haters over this one because these are both my number 1, but they can't fit into the spot. These 2 movies probably formed my thinking. Oh, I bullwhips. I had an Indiana Jones hat. I also thought when I was a kid I should change my name to Conan. You know, I was always trying to make swords because of this movie right here. And it's like what if you had a character as a combination of both? That's something for a comic book, I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna put Conan at number 2, but I'll tell you why. This is one of my favorite movies ever. I love the way that, even though it's not right, like the way they're making the sword. We're going to do a bit on that later, and you'll see it. It's going to be fun about that. That's not how you make a sword unless you're maybe making that out of bronze, and I don't even think you would use that technique for making a bronze. But it's a movie. You got to remember, it's a movie. And if you're a bladesmith and you're watching the beginning of this movie and listening to the soundtrack, which was incredible, Basil Polidorius, I think, did the soundtrack. So yeah, I don't know who did that. And the bad guy, Thursa Doom, is a bad, I want to say, because he really is the definition of bad motherfucker. Thursa Doom, he's sitting right there, in the, on Wikipedia, I think. But so Conan, his dad's making this badass sword at the beginning, and he's telling him the riddle of steel. You got to watch it. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But if you're a bladesmith and you haven't watched this movie, you're a chump. You're the lowest level of bladesmith. Don't talk to me. If you haven't seen this, if this soundtrack doesn't play in your mind every time you're forging, you're down there. So if you see me, don't even wave. Look the other direction. Don't look me in the face, because my eyes will burn your eyes out. So one of the coolest movies, I think, is good story, loosely based on Robert E. Howard's character of Conan, but I loved it, and I still love it, and I still like to watch it, even though it's like, maybe it's not even a good movie, but to me, it was one of the greatest movies of the 80s, and it even formed my thoughts and opinions about the way things, I just loved it. I'm at a loss for words, primarily. I love the swords. I really think I like the Atlantean sword better than the father's sword, not because his dad's sword broke, but because the Atlantean sword is like Crom, this is Nephilim king underneath the earth, and I think that was Crom, he finds the sword and he knocks all the crud off of it. No rust, isn't that kind of wild? The guy who made the swords was named Jody Sampson. He was probably one of the greatest sword makers of that time, making beautiful stuff. I don't know if he designed these swords, but it was like, as far as movie swords go, probably number 1. Probably the number 1 movie sword in history of movie swords. So I'm going to reluctantly put it at number 2, even though I think it's a number 1 also, but it can't be both. Indiana Jones, the movie that proves guns beat swords. So this is the this movie was the scariest movie I had ever seen in my life. If you watch somebody's face melt, when did this come out? 1981? 81? Yeah. There were some other movies out at that time, Star Wars, which also I love, but that's for another time, another story. Later on, we'll talk about those possibly. If this is successful, then I'll do more movie commentary. But I'm going to try and get a heads up. But these guys, my team here, they just say, we're going to do this. We're not going to tell you which movies they are. I guess I could have done some research on my own. But this movie, the hat, the jacket, the clothes, the setting, like pre-World War II, the Ark of the Covenant, all the story in there. This is so badass. This is probably one of the greatest movies ever made. Character-wise, the complexity of it, this movie made me go hunting for arrowheads. I was on a search for someone who could make a bullwhip. I had a bunch of crappy ones, from the flea market. I don't know where they're from, but they broke instantly. I'd get one up in a tree and swing, and boom, I'm in the ditch covered in mud. So that didn't work. But now I have some really cool ones, and I don't try that because I'm probably too fat for it. But Indiana Jones is the best movie that I think I've ever seen. Action-wise, from the 80s, based on this list. There is a movie called Princess Bride, which is maybe even better, but that's not on the list, so we can't talk about it, except for that. Favorite thing is the way he, even though he's getting his ass beat through the whole thing, every time, Dr. Jones is always back on top, back on the ball. Like, I'm back in action. I'm back in it. No matter what, no matter how hard you beat him, put him down. I want to know how he got on that submarine. That's the biggest thing. I still don't understand how he got off the boat and he got on the submarine. How did he get into the submarine? I don't know. Maybe they showed that. I don't remember. So anyway, this is my top 10. This is my number one. Kind of struggling with both of these, but this is a better movie. Technically, this is a better movie, better story, better acting. Definitely, there's not really any acting going on in this, but it was fun. All of them are fun. I hope you enjoy this review. I didn't even get to see the movies here. Like, I don't think the last time I saw this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know which one I've seen lately at all, but I loved them all. Some of them more than others. Maybe we should have changed some of these, but as I'm going on looking, like maybe this should have been. Commando should definitely be above here. I could rearrange those, but it's too late now. It's already done deal. So, number 1, Indiana Jones. Leave your comments. I don't really care what you think about what I said about this. Go ahead and leave your comment anyway. But I really don't. On this note, I really don't care. But I care about you, and I care what you think, so you can just say it. There's a platform. And if I don't like what you think, I'll just delete it, especially on this one, because it's just movies, and they don't matter, because they're not real. They're just movies. I mean, it's an hour and a half to 2.5 hours of nonsense that we go and watch and enjoy, and somehow we let these things form our lives, especially because I watched these when I was a kid. So I hope you have a great day. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we'll keep adding more content. The content is really going to get better and better, all depending on you. So thanks. Have a great day.